Hedgewar, these are Hedgewar's words, not mine. He said caste has to be gotten rid of, lock, stock, and barrel. His words, right? He felt that caste was one of the single most contributor to the downfall of the Indian civilization, right? And essentially what I took from that is that caste, once it was fossilized, how it was fossilized, when it was fossilized, that's a different issue. But it was fossilized. Once it became fossilized, social mobility came to a zero. And once social mobility goes to a zero, you don't innovate. And a society that does not innovate is sooner or later going to fragment and become very, very poor. Yeah. And I think Hedgewar was born and raised at a time when India had hit its lowest and poorest point of its civilization, right?
If you liked the episode, please leave your key takeaways in the comments. It helps us decide future episodes. And of course, make sure you follow Dostcast on Spotify. Dostcast to the moon.
And what Hedgewar, I think, noticed more than anybody else of his contemporaries is that Indians, and let me be more specific, Hindus in particular, had lost its reservoir of social capital. And without social capital, you don't get civic institutions. Without civic institutions, you don't get social mobility.
Right.
No social mobility, no innovation. No innovation, you're on a losing streak. And I think this is when Hedgewar leaves what I call political nationalism and moves into cultural nationalism. He grows into it, right? It wasn't a switch. He grows into cultural nationalism and he gives up politics and he basically says, in order to rebuild this society, we don't need a Rajya, we need a Rashtra. We need to rebuild the social bonds, the social networks that go beyond caste, class, and creed. Creed being religion. And only then can you worry about the Rajya. So this is and this I believe differentiates Hedgewar from all of his contemporaries. Nehru, Gandhi, Bose, Ambedkar, Savarkar. It differentiates him from all of those.
If you love this episode, make sure you leave a note at the end so we know what more to make of. And of course, follow Dostcast on Spotify, Dostcast to the moon.